This is a Connecting Right production and does not necessarily represent the views of KHTS Radio or its ownership.
All right, welcome to the Connecting Right radio show. Tonight we have special guest Joe Messina filling in as my co-host. Joe, thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me on. You're a gutsy man. That's all I got.
Hey, no guts, no glory. Tonight we have Frank DeMartini sitting right next to me. He's running in the 43rd for Maxine Waters' seat. Also tonight we're going to have Bill Reynolds on talking about SB 54. Also Kevin Kornthal will be on a little bit later, and also as a special guest in the third hour we are going to have Antonio Sabato Jr. Calling in. So first, let's jump to what people are wondering about. I made a little post earlier today saying that there was going to be an announcement, and the announcement is that this is going to be the last episode of Connecting Right radio show.
Oh, no.
It's due to some personal reasons medically with me, so I'm going to be taking a break from quite a few things. Unfortunately, this is going to be one of them.
You're not, just so people don't, you're not terminal.
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to die. You guys are still stuck with me.
The loss of your hair is natural, has nothing to do with any disease. Okay, just so we're clear.
I'm not going away. I'm not going away completely. I'm just going to be taking a step back from a few things.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just want to thank Jerry and Carl for giving me the opportunity to have this show for the time that we did. This all started about a year ago when we started with The Triggering as our little comedy show that turned into a real life radio show. So Sean was here at the beginning. Then we had Matt and Tom, and Jason Gibbs was here for a few. I've had Joe on before, and all the other guests. I appreciate everyone that's helped make this show what it was. We had a lot of fun, and I'm gonna miss doing this. Hopefully, maybe in the future, once things get figured out, we can get back on this and bring it back. But let's jump into it because we don't have a lot of time and we have a lot to talk about.
Really, can I steal 2 minutes for?
Yes.
I just came from that Major Stephen Del Bagno, his memorial service at Saugus High School. Man, I'll tell you what, community turned out. It was great. And you know what? We need to encourage young people, and we need to thank families who make the ultimate sacrifice for us. And very touching.
Sure,
even cold-hearted, nasty guy here had to use my tie to soak up the tears.
You're actually
cool.
Wearing a tie?
Well, it's in the car. It's all wet.
Soaked with tears. So we appreciate his service, and we're very. It was very sad when we first found out that he passed away in the accident. He was born and raised here. Went to Saugus High School, and still lived out here, and so he's deeply missed. I had even friends out at Nellis Air Force Base in Vegas that were texting me and, hey, this is when it's going to happen. This is when it's going to be happening, and make sure you get out there and see it. This is the route they're going to be taking and everything. So we had people from all over that were participating in this this memorial.
Thanks
today.
for letting me do that.
Yeah, no problem. So, anyways, I'd like to introduce our first guest, Frank DeMartini, who's running in the 43rd, running for the Congressional District, 43rd Congressional District. Sorry.
Yeah, that's against Maxine Waters, for those who don't know.
Yes, which is a very, very important. We did have Edwin on before, and Edwin's a good guy, and I know that Frank's a great guy too. And I just wanted to give him a chance to come on and also talk and get his tell his story about why he's running and just kind of talk about himself a little bit and let the people know who is Frank and why Frank is running.
Frank's running because somebody's got to put Maxine to task. It's time Maxine went into a retirement. She's going to be 80 in August, and I don't want to assert ageism, but part of my platform is that I'm getting into term limits to a bigger extent than anyone I've ever seen before, because not only am I saying there should be term limits, I'm saying there should be a mandatory retirement age of 75 for everyone in Congress, and I'm also saying that we should pump up the age requirements to get elected from 25, 30, and 35 to 30, 35, and 40. And with a few other things in my term limit proposal, we'll get rid of all the career politicians, and Maxine's one of the biggest career politicians, besides from being about as far to the left as you could possibly get.
Well, Frank, you also, one of the things you've said in the past is you have three, she's only passed 3 bills, right? Or she's only put out 3 bills. One One was to rename what?
She named the post office.
All right.
That was
Good for
And now keep in mind, this is a woman that's been in Congress since 1991.
Oh.
We're talking 27 years in Congress, and she's done absolutely nothing for the district except enrich herself.
How does she keep getting reelected?
She's got
the whole district, I don't want to say bought, but she's still got a 65% popularity rating in that district, which means she's going to be very hard to defeat. But I do have a plan to defeat her, and I'd love to tell you all on here, but then Omar and Edwin will hear it, and I don't want them to hear anything
steal
at this
some
point.
of it.
I'm going to be like President Trump. You'll hear about it after we win.
There you go. There you go. So, give us a little background. You were a Hollywood producer?
Yeah, I've been an attorney since 1986,
attorney,
primarily
okay.
practicing tax law and entertainment and corporate. And then in 1997, I decided, since all my clients were producers, that I was going to produce, because I came out here to get in entertainment, to be frankly honest. Only I came out here to get into the music end of the industry, and eventually it led into film as opposed to music. And since 1997, I produced about 20 films, the biggest two of which are Mad Money with Queen Latifah and Diane Keaton, and another movie called Mechanic Resurrection with Jason Statham and Jessica Alba.
Okay. And how was it being I know personally, because I was a conservative in the entertainment industry for almost 9 years. How was it for you? How was that experience for you?
Well, I haven't really had any problems. I mean, the closest to a problem was on a movie I made called Mozart and the Whale, where one of the lead actors basically called me out on the Bush era. And, I hate to say it, but a lot of the things he said about W were right, in hindsight. And, by the way, we should mention, the Barbara Bush, I guess, is basically today declared that she's not going to seek treatment anymore, and she's going into comfort training, so I don't think she's going to be long for the world.
No.
Yeah, very sad. I remember my mom when she chose to do that also, and it wasn't very long after that she unfortunately passed. And so we are definitely keeping the Bush family in our prayers as they go through this very difficult time. Barbara was a wonderful first lady, and it's very sad to see her health go
She's a wonderful
south.
lady, period. I mean, she's done a lot of great things.
Yeah, and she's lived a great life. I mean, she's 92. It's not like we're talking about a 50-year-old woman here, but
Right.
it's hard to see someone go.
Yeah, definitely. So, so what made you what point did you decide? I know you've given your reasons on why you chose to run.
No.
But
Be honest about it. After how many drinks and what bar were you at when you said, this Waters lady's got to go?
In fact, actually, if you want to hear a funny story, my wife, who's sitting outside, I had been thinking about it since March or April.
Okay.
And one day I called up Mark Joseph and John Sullivan, two close friends of mine, and I told them I was thinking about it, and they said, yeah, it's a good idea. You should go for it. We'll help you, blah, 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 blah. And I talked to my wife, and, I looked at her in the face, and I said, I'm thinking about running for Congress against Maxine Waters. And she looked at me totally straight-faced and said, you had nothing to do today, huh?
You're hanging with the guys again. That's what happened.
She was like, you really had nothing to do today, huh? That was after she came home from work. And, here's how it all started. And I know Joe knows this already because he's had me on his show a couple of times. When Obama got elected in 2008, I saw the country was going in the completely wrong direction, and I started getting angry. I started a website called A Hollywood Republican, and I ran that website up until I decided to run for Congress, and then I took it down because it didn't conflict with anything said here, but to me it seemed like I didn't want this website to interfere with my campaign. So... But that was the beginning, and then I started writing for Andrew Breitbart. Andrew and I actually were pretty close friends, and I wrote for him from 2009 to 2011. And all the while I'm getting more angry because I'm seeing what Obama's doing and what Obama's not doing, which is more than what he was doing. Although what he did do, he tried to mess the country up really good. And then I saw what happened when President Trump got elected. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because he's being treated in a way by the left that I have never seen anybody in my life been treated in politics or otherwise.
Right.
And I said, okay, something's got to be done. And I started thinking about running for Congress. And it was like, where in Southern California do I have a chance to raise enough money to win? And the only thing that came up was running against Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
Because she is so despicable and so universally despised throughout the entire country that you can raise enough money to possibly beat her from outside of California.
Yeah.
Whereas if I ran against Karen Bass, who technically is the district I live in, nobody cares. Nobody even knows who Karen Bass is.
Right. That's the 44th, right?
That's, no, 37.
Oh, 37. Okay.
That's 30. That's Culver City, Mid Wilshire, parts of West, like around the VA.
Okay.
And
yeah. Okay. I know there. Okay. So and so you feel that you just have a better chance in the 43rd, or is it more that you just really want to get Maxine Waters out of there because she's pretty terrible for our country?
Well, I also analyzed the district a lot, and the district is not the district that she got elected in 1991. I mean, some of it's the same, but most of it isn't. And I can't. I thought I turned my phone off. I'm sorry.
No problem.
You just have to buy everybody dinner. It's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. First person's phone who rings, you got to buy dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be a first for this show too. So.
Why against Maxine? I was analyzing the district, and I saw that the district is now 50% Hispanic and 24% African American, 27% white and Asian. And Hispanics are not liberal for the most part. They vote Democrat for some reason, but they're not liberal. You start looking at them on social issues. They're very conservative on social issues. They're very conservative on school choice. In fact, right now, 26% of all homeschooling is from Hispanics. It's not a whites-only thing anymore.
Right.
And you keep analyzing this district, and you keep saying to yourself, why is Maxine so secure? And there's a lot of ways to get at her. There's a lot of ways to attack her, and she can be beat. It's not going to be easy. And a lot of it, as usual, it's going to require a ton of money because, God forbid, I get close at any point or any of the other candidates gets close, the DNC comes in with $20 million because they're not going to let Maxine Waters lose.
Right.
Yeah.
So and so with this homeschooling, I mean, this is something that I've been talking about a while, that a lot of our schools have gone from educating to influencing. And do you think that a lot of the reason why they want to get rid of the homeschool is so that they have that more of that influence on the kids as they're growing up?
I think it goes all the way to the charter school issue. You know, it's the teachers' unions want everything that's not unionized gone. And as homeschooling continues to grow, that's more of a lowering of the need for teachers. And with every union, they need as many members as possible to stay afloat, especially with the Supreme Court case that's about to be decided on in June, where it could stop the mandatory payment of union dues for everybody who's in a public sector employment.
Jeez. Yeah.
So, California wants to indoctrinate. And this bill this AB 2926 is going to be, I think, ruled on, or it's going to come in up for a vote in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, the thing that's already, most people listening right now know I'm on one of the trustees on one of the school boards up here, and we get dictated to. People don't realize that in other states, the quote-unquote Board of Education, the Board of Trustees, they get to make the rules, okay? In California, it's not true. We're a rubber stamp board to a big degree. They shove stuff down our throats. You find a way to get the money. You find a way to make it happen. It's a big part of what we do. And you're right. We're seeing more and more of the so-called sex ed stuff coming down on us, as opposed to having, we are 47th in the country when it comes to math and English, math and science and that kind of thing. Why aren't we focusing on that? Why is it the state? And now you're running for a federal seat, but
I know, but not only are we 47 out of 50. But the country is 26 in the world in education. Prior to Jimmy Carter starting the Department of Education in 1979, we had, if not the best schooling system in the world, we were in the top 3 or 4. And since the Department of Education and the takeover of education by a federal bureaucracy, we've gone from number 2 or 3 to number 26. Jeez. And actually, one of the tenets of my campaign is to abolish the Department of Education.
Okay. I was back in D.C. in February, and I know some of the left cringe when you use Betsy DeVos's name, right? But we're in a meeting, we're sitting there, she's with media, she's not with school board people, but she's mostly with media, and she's saying, look, we need to get the money to the school districts. See, if the Fed needs to get out of the way, we need the money needs to go directly to the districts because you guys know what to do with it in your areas. And I thought that was hilarious because California, it goes to the state first, and the state decides how we get it, what we get, how much of it we get, and what guidelines we have to fall within.
Well, the way it was before 1979 was each school district individually applied for the federal grants. So you got your school tax from the property owners, and then you got the federal grants directly from the federal government. Now it's a whole different ballpark. Now you have to meet the federal requirements, and you have to teach what the federal government wants you to teach. Let's get rid of the Department of Education. Let's bring it back to the ways was before 1979. I mean, let's be honest. How can a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. determine what's needed in the 43rd District, which is basically inner city, as the same thing as a student in Wyoming or a kid in Florida? It's completely different needs, completely different requirements, and it's the federal government dictating, and I don't even want to get started on Common Core. Common Core is a disaster. Anyone I know that's involved with Common Core can't deal with it, except for maybe a few teachers who are, because they don't have to do anything anymore. Right. They just do their job. They just go out there and say, this is what I have to teach you, so blah, 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 blah. And then you've got the textbook issue where Texas has certain textbooks, and Oklahoma has other textbooks, and Los Angeles has other textbooks, and some of the textbooks in liberal states like California have completely different versions of American history than the ones in Texas.
Well, Frank, one of the problems you have, and you're right to a degree, is Texas and California kind of set the standard for the rest of the country when it comes to educational textbooks. And we get, California says, okay, history books for, this grade, here's 6 to choose from. And unless somebody goes through those, unless a trustee or goes through them one by one to decide which is the most balanced to use, you're at the mercy of the staff, you're at the mercy of the administration, whoever presents those to you.
Yeah, and also there's a major overcrowding issue in 44, and overcrowding, a lot of it comes from illegal immigration, which I know we're going to talk about in the second unit, second segment. And you start talking about the overcrowding caused by illegal immigrants in the schools and the federal dictations, and you understand why 2 of the worst high schools in the country are in California 43.
Oh, really?
But there were pictures that came out today that showed the homeless scenario out there in Maxine's district, and I think it's really funny because she talks about how she's for the people, wants to help the people. They got the worst. It is the worst place in LA pretty much for homelessness. What is she doing for them, Frank?
Just hang out in Gardena a little bit, and you'll see the same tent cities that you see in downtown LA are in Gardena.
Fifth Street, Skid Row, and all that. Yeah, so, well, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you very much for giving us a little insight on you, Frank, and the issues. And when we come back, Santa Clarita just agendized putting SB 54 on for the city council. So we're going to discuss that with Bill Reynolds when we come back. We're still going to have Frank with us for the second segment, and we're looking forward to hearing what Bill has to say about the
I think Bill's all for us being a sanctuary city, isn't he?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he pretty much wrote the bill. So, anyways, we'll be back shortly, guys.
Every year, thousands of local children, teens, and adults receive treatment at the Child and Family Center for depression, anger, anxiety, abuse, thoughts of suicide, and drug and alcohol addictions. Our professional staff provides outpatient services at office locations, in the home, the community, and on many elementary, junior, and high school campuses throughout our valley. If you need help, contact Child and Family Center at 259-9439 or childfamilycenter.org. Improving lives, one family at a time.
Drop in for a new virtual reality experience. DC Superheroes Drop of Doom VR. For a limited time at Six Flags Magic Mountain, take a ride on one of the world's tallest and fastest drop tower rides. Using special VR headsets, view the action while fully immersed in a 360-degree virtual world, plunging 400 feet at 85 miles per hour on Lex Luthor Drop of Doom. Plus, spend the day getting your fill of thrills on the most thrilling coasters in the world, like Twisted Colossus, Goliath, and more. Only at the thrill capital of the world. Are you ready for your chance at a day of Six Flags thrills for free? Keep listening to KHTS 98.1 and AM 1220 for your chance to win. Not a winner? You can still get the best deals on tickets, season passes, and memberships when you visit sixflags.com today. It's the all-new virtual reality experience at Six Flags Superheroes Drop of Doom, VR, only at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
All right, welcome back to Connecting Right Radio Show. Again, we have Joe Messina here as our special guest host. We have Frank DeMartini here with us, and we also have Bill Reynolds joining us now. Before we jump into SB 54, we had Lee Ermey. Most people know him as the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. He passed away today, which is very, very sad. He was a great American and a great soldier and great actor. And all around, I've never heard a single bad thing about him from anybody that's ever worked with him. So it's another unfortunate passing that we had happen today. As we mentioned earlier, we also had the fighter pilot who passed away, who was a local here in Santa Clarita. Thoughts and prayers to their families, and he's Mr. Ermey's going to be dearly missed. So, anyways, we're going to jump into SB 54, which has been put on the agenda here for May 8th in Santa Clarita to be voted on by the City Council. This was put on the agenda. It was talked about a few sessions ago, and it was when it was first brought up. Bob Keller asked for it to be agendized, and Bill Miranda seconded it, and then there was a little bit of discussion and didn't quite make it. In this last City Council meeting, it was brought up again, and Bill Reynolds, along with many others, stood up and said some very great things about us opting out. And that convinced the City Council to put it on the agenda for May 8th, where it will be voted on. I assume that's going to be a very hectic and a very busy City Council meeting. So if you're planning on showing up on May 8th, get there early. But anyways, Bill, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
It's an honor to be here, Dave.
And I know you had a very good speech on last Tuesday when you spoke in front of the council, and I know that you wanted to read that. So I'm going to give you a chance to say to our listeners what you said to the City Council.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah, this is my speech. I was kind of a emotional thing for me, but here goes. Greetings, City Council members and City Manager Ken Striplin. I'm here first to speak about our Fallen Warriors Monument. Our wonderful city and community came together to create a granite tribute that honors our 49 SCV residents who perished in war since World War II. Their names are engraved in black granite. I'd like to thank the three principal councilmen who actually made it happen. I often refer to them as the Three Amigos. Former Councilman Tim Ben Boydston, Dante Acosta, and of course Councilman Bob Keller. Without their support, we would not have our fine monument. Afterwards, when Councilman Miranda and Smythe joined City Council, both promptly supported our noble cause. City funds of $84,000 were funded to extend the existing pergola, but only $20,000 was actually spent due to tremendous community support of labor and materials. Our amazing community contributed over $50,000 to purchase and install our monument. This is quite a tribute in itself to our patriotic community who are monitoring my next issue. Our community lost 49 men in war who paid the ultimate sacrifice protecting our country, our freedom, our federal laws, our Constitution, and our sovereignty. They did not perish protecting illegal aliens in sanctuary cities. Last hearing, our two veterans, Keller and Miranda, at the dais voted to agendize sanctuary cities, SB 54. But they needed one more vote. And now here we are talking about this again. I am urging you to simply sign a proclamation declaring the city of Santa Clarita is opposed to illegal alien immigration and providing them sanctuary. I believe doing otherwise makes no sense whatsoever. This morning, my friend Bill Geyer's 92-year-old mother sadly passed away. Bill was our 2nd Platoon Charlie Company medic who was mortally wounded next to me on June 19, 1967. We were 20 years old. 47 U.S. soldiers were KIA from our unit that day. I bandaged Bill and tried saving him, but the enemy's bullet had penetrated both lungs. A number of medevac choppers were also shot down that day. None of us were fighting for sanctuary cities. We fought for America's sovereignty. Folks on the left will surely call me a racist, but I will tell you that my own mother legally immigrated here, became a naturalized citizen. My minority daughter-in-law legally immigrated to America and also became a naturalized citizen. I favor legal immigration, and I don't care what country you come from. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, and also thank you for you were one of the spearheads that was kind of working on that to get it agendized back in over the last city council meeting last Tuesday. So. Frank, how are things going down with the SB 54 down in your district? I know that Maxine kind of loves her illegals.
I think Torrance is in the process of considering also doing what Huntington Beach and Los Alamitos done, and Orange County Board of Supervisors have done, which is to vote not to enforce SB 54. But this SB 54 goes further than illegal immigration. Illegal immigration is bad enough, but SB 54 SB 54 is stopping city and state and local law enforcement from reporting to ICE illegal criminal felons.
Yeah.
It's insidious.
So we're not talking about the illegal immigrant who comes here to help his family and to feed his family. We're talking about criminal felons. We've become a sanctuary state to support criminal felons.
Yeah.
So Sheriff McDonald spoke to him months ago, and he said this was going to happen, and now we see it happening, which is, he said, okay, so if we won't allow ICE to come to the jail to pick up the one fellow that they're looking for, they're going to go to the house. And when they go to the house, you know what they're going to find? They're going to find grandma and grandpa who are here illegally. They're going to find the 3 kids that are here illegally and the aunt and the uncle. And they're going to walk out with 7 as opposed to the one real bad guy, the one real criminal. Then they go into those neighborhoods. Then they have to go into the house. It's worse. It's a worse security risk for them. So we're not thinking this thing through. And you know, to your point earlier, all my, and Frank, you and I have talked about this, every one of my family members were green card carriers.
My wife is a legal immigrant. I brought her over here after shooting a movie in Thailand.
Oh,
I mean,
so you see what I mean? They think we hate, we don't care, and that's where they try to win. They yell and they scream that we're bigots, we're racist, we're phobic on every level.
It's also euphemisms. I mean, the biggest euphemism of all is pro-life and right to choose.
Yeah.
That's a euphemism, and we've fallen into the trap. You're either pro-abortion or anti-abortion. Get rid of this right to choose garbage and say what it really is. You're killing a baby. And it's the same thing with immigration. It's either legal or illegal.
Right.
And it's none of this, you know, oh, we're helping all these undocumented aliens.
No,
What's an undocumented alien? It's someone who broke the law.
It's an illegal immigrant is what it is. And it blows my mind that somebody that's committed crimes that they want to keep that shouldn't even be in the country, that they want to keep here, and that we are considered racists for doing that.
I've been called a Nazi since I decided to run.
Isn't it interesting to get all over President Trump for breaking the law? Really, what he does it, but breaking the law, right? I mean, and yet they don't care about it because elected officials take an oath to uphold the Constitution of California and Constitution of the United States, and these fly 180 degrees to that law. You know, DeLeon, I don't know if he was too stupid to know what he was saying, or he just doesn't care. When he said that his family came over here illegally, they used stolen Social Security numbers, they used stolen IDs.
Yeah.
That's against the law, but they were okay with that. That was all right.
Remember when they said that Trump could shoot somebody in the middle of the street and people would still vote for him? Kevin De Leon could say, "I have all these illegal immigrants. We're doing all the illegal family members. We're participating in these illegal activities, and people are still going to vote for him." Which is, I find that ridiculous that he can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm doing these illegal things," and that they're just going to be like, "Oh, well, that's great. We're still going to vote for you."
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, now you have politicians nominating or selecting illegal aliens to city jobs.
Yeah.
You know, that I forget the guy.
I know the girl you're talking about, and you know how they got around it was you can't pay somebody. You can't use public funds to pay someone here illegally to do a job.
You can't pay anybody.
Okay. Well,
Anybody who's here illegally.
Right.
In fact, I could tell you
not
from
just illegal
experience.
aliens.
No. Yeah, illegal. No, undocumented immigrants. I'm sorry, undocumented.
But the way they got around it, Frank, was it's not a paid position.
So what?
So it's an internship or something?
It's not a paid position.
Okay.
It's a I don't know, stipend position or whatever. But
But even a stipend is a paid position.
I would agree with you, but apparently the law doesn't.
California.
And it wouldn't matter. We're in California.
The only thing you can do if you're not a green card carrying person legally is start a business.
But
you can start your own business and employ people, but not if you're here illegally. If you're here legally on a non-work visa.
Right. Yeah. So they're just going to allow. They're going to continue to allow people to come in, and it's our money that's paying for them, to our taxpayer money that's going to them, and especially here in California.
How about the ones that are voting? You can't tell me. You can't tell me in the 43rd Congressional District that there are no illegal immigrants voting.
I cannot tell you that.
But to Bill's point earlier, to get back to the city council, two things.
Oh, yeah.
One is, when it comes down to quote unquote parliamentary procedure, how to get things done, it's tough to throw out an idea. I don't know how the city council is laid out. I know that at the school board level, I can't just come up and out there, get a second, get a third. We ask for it to be agendized with information. We don't need 3 votes, and then it comes back around next time around. But I wouldn't want just a proclamation. To me, there's no teeth in just saying, "Hey, we're not going to adhere to the sanctuary city." I want them to join with an amicus brief. I want them to get out there, join with another city, lay it down. We don't have a police department that we can direct.
Right.
You know, Huntington Beach is paying for the lawsuit, so nobody else that joins the lawsuit has to pay for it.
Right.
So every other city, could join the lawsuit. It doesn't have to be an amicus brief, Joe. You can actually physically join the lawsuit as a plaintiff.
Okay. Well,
because Huntington Beach is paying for it, so there's no other requirement for any city.
Bob Keller.
Yeah, I know that I know that we would be joining through an amicus brief. That's what they decided to vote on. They got from Bob Keller, Cameron Smythe, and Lorraine West. They all got they agreed to put it on, and so they had the 3 oral approvals. Some people had an issue with saying, "Didn't they vote? You guys didn't vote. You didn't vote." All you needed was 3 oral approvals. And Cameron Smythe, if you're listening, that wasn't me that called you out on it.
There's also an amici curiae. You should know what that is. You're a lawyer.
That's an amicus brief. That's
Is that
the
what
same
that
thing.
is? Oh.
Yeah, an amicus brief is a friend of the court. It's someone who writes a paper without being a party to the case.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
So basically, taking a position one way or the other.
But it
Usually,
adds
they
weight
happen
to
in
it,
Supreme
right?
Court cases. Yeah, I mean, the more amici there are, the more weight your case has.
Gotcha.
But it's so much more to become a party to the lawsuit. Right. I mean, you can join the lawsuit as a plaintiff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we still have some more to go through. We are going to take a quick break, but Frank, I first want to say thank you very much for coming on.
No problem.
Don't mean to kick you off, but we gotta move on. We had a lot to put in this last show, and not a lot of time. But again, I thank you very much for coming on, and good luck in your race. And we'll be in contact with you again because we're going to be having a meeting with the California Conservative Action Group in May that we would like you to come speak at. So
yeah, I would definitely be into that.
So definitely.
And let me just say, my name's Frank DeMartini. I'm running on against Maxine Waters in the 43rd Congressional District. My website is www.demartini2018.com. DEMARTINI.
And if you don't vote for Frank or help Frank, then you're Italiophobic, right?
Something.
Yeah, no, then you're a racist. You're a racist.
I'm trying to follow the line of thinking, Frank.
And by the way, he's Italian too, so he can say that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
He can say that and get away with it.
If I follow the guidelines to the left, I can use Guinea and Wampadago and all that.
All right. Well, we'll be back shortly with Antonio Sabato Jr.
Santa Clarita Philharmonic has begun its season of free concerts. The SCP is a non-profit community-based volunteer symphony orchestra comprised of local musicians from throughout the Santa Clarita Valley who are dedicated to providing quality classical music for the residents of the Santa Clarita Valley. Like the Santa Clarita Philharmonic on Facebook or visit santaclaritaphilharmonic.org for more information.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
All right, welcome back to the Connecting Right radio show. Our very last segment of our very last show. Very sad for me, but I appreciate everyone that's tuned in, everyone that's listened to this through these times, and I appreciate Joe being on the show quite a few times. Bill, this is I think your second or third time on the show, and we have Kevin Kornthal who's visiting us from Texas, who's going to be joining us for this third segment. But our guest is Antonio Sabato Jr. He is running in the 26th district the 26th Congressional District. So, Mr. Sabato Jr., thank you very much for coming on the show and calling in.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's my honor.
Great. So, tell us a little bit about. I mean, most people already know who you are from your from your celebrity, I should say. But give people a little bit of a background about who you are and why you decided to run.
Well, listen, one of my proudest moments that I've ever had in my life was in 1996 when I became a citizen of the United States. I moved here from Italy in 1985, and we've done things legally, and I love this country. I've had an amazing career as an actor and a business owner. I raced at Indianapolis a couple of times. I've done everything that I could possibly imagine. But right now, giving back to my community that needs me so much, to my country, especially California with the policies they're passing, it's my duty and my honor to back the people of Ventura County and make sure that I win, that we're going to win in November. And I urge everyone to go to voteentonio.com, donate to the cause, because we're going to win for the American people. My community deserves better in every way, and I'm going to give them the best they ever had. And we're going to tackle this and make sure that California gets back on track.
Hey, Antonio, this is Joe Messina, and I know this is a rub, but I'm Sicilian, so you know how that goes, right? I mean,
my father's from Palermo.
All right, all right.
Yeah, so.
We're gonna have our own party. You guys can leave. So it's really interesting. It's when you have the immigrants on the right, when you have immigrants that are conservatives, they don't give us any credit. They poo-poo us. They kind of blow us off like we don't matter. It seems like only immigrants that actually become Democrats or are on the left are the ones that they hold up. How are you going to get past that?
With truth and honor and dignity and the facts. This country has been through too much in the last 200 years, and we got to start giving it back. We can't be afraid anymore. We got to be out there, and we got to be bold for common sense. This is not about the party anymore. This is about our Constitution, and it's about our country and the future for our children. What kind of a state are we going to have? Every single state and county that has been run by Democrats, and by the way, I would love to meet a Democrat. We're talking about a liberal, socialist way of thinking, and they're ruining the state. They ruin every city because they promise everything, and the American people get nothing in return. My Latino, my community, everyone, from my farmers, for everyone, for the law enforcement in my community, they're not getting anything from my opponent, Julia Brownlee. She doesn't even live here. She doesn't care or take the pride to go and live in the county that you're going to work for. That's disgraceful. And so many other things, like AB 109, prisoner early release. She passed. She built this policy. And now we're talking about SB 54. These are really dangerous things that they're doing. But right now, we're going to go in there with a smile, integrity, and class, and we're going to win.
Hey, Antonio, this is Kevin Kornthal. I'm actually a former 45-year resident of the Santa Clarita Valley. I was on our Parks and Recreation Commission here in the city of Santa Clarita, and in the middle of my second term, I had to make the decision for myself and my family to leave California and go to Texas. There's a lot of families out there, as you know, many of them are probably in the district that you're running in, that are thinking, gosh, I can't make it here in California right now under these taxes and these liberal laws. What do you say to those folks? How do you... you got to keep them here and you got to get them to vote for you. What do you say, Antonio?
It breaks my heart. I've had the blessings of getting donations from every state in our country has donated to my campaign, and we're still getting those donations. And when I get those donations and I read the comments, they say, I wish I could go back to California. I just left. I was pushed away in the last 2 years. I left 15 years ago, and so on. These stories, because it's so hard with regulations and taxes. We should make it easier for the American people. We shouldn't tax them and gas tax to fix the roads or whatever they're going to use this money for. This is illegal stuff that they're doing, and we got to stop it. I think people are rising up, and they're saying, you know what, we care about our country, and we got to follow the law. And if you break the law, you got to pay a price. And we, the American people, don't want to pay that price because we want to go to work. So I'm going to make sure that regulations are lowered. This is crazy. No business wants to come to California because it's so hard. And the way of living, the way of life, it's just hard from left to right, and we got to make it easier and harder.
We do, and we were talking about earlier in our city here in Santa Clarita. We just agendized having SB 54 put on to opt out and join the lawsuit through an amicus brief. How are things going out there with SB 54 out in Ventura and out where you live? Is there any movement from the city council to try to opt out, or what's going on out there?
No, there's a movement, but like I said, it's not enough. We really have to educate people. There's this mainstream media, also in the Latin networks, which, my Latin community, my Latinos, they watch certain channels, and it's all, publications and things run by socialists. Mm-hmm. And so we have to re-educate people about what's going on because, these people, this community, especially my community of Oxnard, has been taken advantage of. They're not protected. They're not doing better because of these policies. These are, people forget that the Latin, South of America, there's a lot of countries. Mexico actually follows the law. If you cross their country illegally, you get 2 years in prison. If you recross it again, you get 10 years in prison. So when they cross over and they're illegal in Mexico, and they're coming from Nicaragua, Venezuela, you name it, so they're coming up here, and so they're doing something illegal, and then the Mexicans are like, we don't want to keep you here. So go to America, because they'll take you there. And we take them, and we pay for it in every way. We're not safer. Criminals are in our prisons. Our policies are keeping, prisoners out of prisons. Let me tell you something. When I came here in 1985 and Reagan was the president, I could never imagine to be this bad. Never in a million years. So now we got to pick our bags. We got to keep going. We're going to win.
Hey, this is Bill Reynolds, Valencia resident out here in Santa Clarita.
How are you, sir?
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm doing fine, so thank you. And I got to tell you, I love hearing your conservative voice, your conservative perspective. Yeah. Most veterans, in fact, all the veterans that I know that I associate with are in the same boat as me. We want to hear more from guys like you. And therefore, I would urge you to visit the VFW. You probably already know all this. Go to the American Legion. Hook into all of the veteran organizations in your area, and you'll find support.
Let me tell you something. I think you know about this guy, Buck McKeon, right?
Oh, he's a friend of mine. Right? Yep, friend.
Yeah, and Buzz Pedersen. These are great heroes and friends of mine who endorsed, and their knowledge and their information to me. I got to tell you, my disappointment when I find out about our VA in Oxnard, that's one of the worst in the country, and what the VA has been run by. My idea was always, why isn't the VA being taken care of by people and personnel in the Army and the Marines? In the Army,
Great point.
It should be run by people that understand soldiers more than anything. And instead we just have people who are lawyers or bankers or whatever, bureaucrats, and they just don't know how to handle people, especially our heroes. And we got to change that. So I'm going to push for that. And I'm already working with Gus Bilirakis out of Tampa. He's in the VA committee, and there's a lot of work to be done. But like you said, we got to be more vocal. We can't be scared of these people. This is nonsense, and this country and our soldiers it's been through too much.
Well, our VA should be privatized, plain and simple.
Exactly.
They can't keep
Absolutely.
up.
They can't keep up.
The VA cannot get enough money to satisfy the need out there. It's got to be privatized.
You're right, and also I got to tell you, in California we're spending over $26 billion on immigration. If we built this wall, I'm from Rome. The Vatican City has a wall. Even God has a wall, guys.
God has a wall in extreme betting also.
Well, Dave, I thought you did a lot of swearing on your show. He said wall. Around here, that's a swear word.
That is a swear word.
One last comment.
Everybody lives behind it. And also people live behind walls anyway because they don't show their true colors until they're willing to do so. So we live in our walls. We live in our cars. We're always protected by something. But then our country doesn't deserve that. I don't get it. It makes no sense.
Well, we have troops
whatsoever.
Overseas protecting other countries' borders.
Yes, sir.
So
you bring up the point. We have every soldier that has ever. We have soldiers in every country we ever fought against to this day. We're still in South Korea. We're still in every part of the world, and we're not doing enough for them. And so we should do more.
Hey, Antonio, this is Kevin Corenthal again. I think one of the as I have spent now a year in Texas after again 45 years living in Southern California. One of the biggest criticisms I hear of California is that though it's 23% of the population of the United States, it holds, in fact, 1/3 of all welfare recipients for the nation. What do you say? What do you say to folks like myself that are? Why would I ever want to keep my investment here in California? What is the solution? How do we get together to solve that problem?
All right, so we have to change Sacramento altogether. We have people who have done things.
Amen.
we have to change. Everyone who's in Sacramento right now should be fired and replaced by the American people, because these guys have been taking advantage, passing laws for their benefits because their ego is so big, traveling in their private jets, being protected by people wearing guns all the time, and taking our money and making it harder for us. It's our time to say, you know what? You're not going to go back to Sacramento anymore. Not this time. We have some good people running in our party this year for governor. We have to wake up. We have to wake up and go, you know what? Whoever it is better than Gavin, is better than anyone from the Democratic Party, because they are so evil in what they're passing, what they're doing. And the American people, they're paying the price in so many ways, and I'm sick of it. So, hey, it starts right there. Sacramento, change it all up. Let's do it this year.
That's a great idea, and I definitely think that we should do that. I know that that's one of the things that me and my wife are going to be looking at in November, is how things go in Sacramento.
Should I hire a U-Haul for you guys?
Yeah, right.
Come on down, baby.
What are you, a coward? You leave me Bill behind?
By the way, he's welcome to stay at my house.
By the way, Kevin, you're going to have to work on that Texas drawl, buddy.
I know. Yes. Well, I think...
y'all...
I think one of the things that's an unpopular opinion that some people definitely subscribe to is that California may need to fall on its face before it actually gets better. Things are going to get worse before they get better again. And what do you say to those people, Antonio? What do you say to the people that think that California kind of needs to hit rock bottom before we can make it a decent state again?
Well, I got to tell you, you can't let the house burn down to the ground. There's always hope to build it back up. But you can't wait until everything is gone, because this state has been through so much, and the American people who live in it. And there's great people who live here. They want to be left alone. They want small government. They want a place to go and open up shop and just be left alone, in this beautiful land that we live, And I want my farmers to succeed. But there's so much to be done, and but it starts with replacing Sacramento, and I'm not going to let it go down. Because, I'm not
Antonio,
going to let them win. They're not going to win. No, not ever.
Antonio, but your farmers are a problem because they need water, and the state doesn't want to give water to farmers. They want to put it back in the ocean. Don't you know? It's a state.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, because they want to save the fish, or they want to save a lizard, or whatever it may be. But the American people have to pay the price all the time. I say, let's help humanity. Let's help people first who deserve a break.
Amen.
They need to be protected.
Yep.
And so there's a lot to be done, but I'm excited. I'm happy, and my campaign and people in my community are behind me 100%. The whole country is behind me, so we're going to do it this time, and we're going to win big.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us, Antonio. Why don't you give everybody show yourself, give everything out, give your web address, how people can reach you, everything that people need to know about you, so that we can make sure we can help you get elected.
Yes, it's please everyone go to voteantonio.com and donate. It doesn't matter, $1, $2, whatever. Just tell everyone to go to voteantonio.com, because the opposition has stolen a lot of money from you and is using it against me. So we need to fight back, and we're going to rebuild. We're going to continue making Ventura County the safest, the proudest for me in the country. And we're going to do a lot of work, and we got to start right here. And also for the state and locally, see who's running. Look them up. Check them out. Get to know them. Call them. See if they want to meet you one-on-one. Get involved. These are people they're gonna work really hard for you, and you got to get to know them, because they're passing laws either good for you or bad. And I believe the Republican Party is on the good side, and they're passing the best laws that are healthy and with sanity, and we need a lot of that in California. So thank you very much, guys, for having me.
Expect some money from coming in from Texas, Antonio.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. And good luck with your campaign, Antonio. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Can I spew this out really quick? I promise.
Go for it, Joe.
All right, real quick. Mayor's Prayer Breakfast coming up morning of May 3rd, 7 a.m. Yeah, early, so you'll be able to get to work. Dr. Alveda King. This is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King.
That's awesome.
Man, you can't beat it. And it's being held at Kelly's Steak and Seafood. Head over there. Got a great scampi over there. You guys must like scampi.
Kelly's Steak and Seafood?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And really, it's a banquet hall.
Over by that's the one that's over by
the Sanctuary Restaurant.
I think we're off there.
Are we?
No. That's over by Friendly Valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a restaurant there, but now I do, and I got to tell you something. The food's great over there.
That's great. Real quick, Kevin, so Kevin Cornthal, he moved away from Santa Clarita 45 years ago, about a year ago. After living here for how long?
45
years. For 45 years you were here. And how has your experience been being outside of California?
So the question I get asked the most is Texas like all a bunch of white people just wandering around with guns on their hips and shooting in the street and the OK Corral kind of stuff? No, actually, you go to the major malls, which are, by the way, 6 or 7 times larger than any mall you'll find in California today, where there is a vast majority of people that are of other color than white. Yeah. You'll see Muslims, you'll see black people. And it's interesting because you'll see a lot of young black people employed in jobs. Rather than here in California, you'll find it would be immigrants that would be doing those roles. So, and you'll also find high school students that will be working in fast food restaurants. How often do you see that in California anymore? So there's a great more diversity of the workforce.
Right.
There's still a great mix of different people, but there isn't one particular race that's every year dominating more and more. And I don't want to go into exactly who that is, but more and more we're seeing, and less we're seeing high school students getting jobs, or black youth without college degrees working. That's the greatest thing about Texas. And I'll tell you that North Texas is very green. You get lots of rain. It has different seasons. It's a beautiful place. And if you want to leave California, find me on Facebook and we'll work out something.
So we can trade in our earthquakes for tornadoes.
Yeah. I'm not going to pitch the organization that I sometimes work with on this, because I don't think it's what I'm here to do. But find me on Facebook if you want to take a look at Texas.
I'd like to do that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well,
we can start our own commune.
Yes.
We'll fly you over, put you on hotels.
SCB Conservative Commune in Texas. There you go.
Commute.
Well, I appreciate you guys all coming on today, and anybody that's been on the show before, thank you very much for making the show what it was. We had a lot of people that really enjoyed listening, and it made me feel really good every time that I complimented people that recognized me from the live feed, or that somehow recognized my voice. That only happened once, which is very weird, but it did happen. And I'm really going to miss doing this show. Hopefully I might be able to come back in the future and start it back up again once I get some things taken care of. But Kevin, thank you for coming on. Joe, like I said, Joe's been on a few times before. I appreciate you always coming on. Bill, thanks again for coming on again. Sean, miss having you as my co-host, and thanks for starting this whole thing with me. And Matt, thanks for coming in. Tom also, and anybody else that ever came on the show, thank you very much. We had a great time.
David, run for city council or leave California.
Okay, run for city council or leave California. We'll see. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your night.